Alright, this is the second tarantula I've seen here at the house. This one's not quite as big as the other one. I try to redirect it away from here and now it's crawling up the wall. He's a big hairy spider. I don't dislike tarantulas as much as I do wolf spiders because tarantulas are slow and the other ones are super fast. But I also don't really want it around here. Oh, get in the jar. Get in the jar. Alright, so I got them in a jar now. Someone asked me for a tarantula, I forgot who. Oh, I dropped it. Oh, looks like you might have hurt him. Pretty slow. Those wolf spiders, on the other hand, are freaking unbelievably fast. Anyway, I get to make it breakfast. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to California Survival. I'm Josh, your host. Today I'm doing a top 5 video. So, 5 things you need to go off grid. Top 5. Number 5 is the land. You gotta have land in order to go off grid. I got my place for under $20,000. In California, there's still a handful of places where land's actually affordable. In the high desert of San Bernardino County is one of them. If you're interested in learning how I went off grid, go ahead and look at my videos. The oldest video, I tell you all about it. Okay, I'm not going to get into that today. But you're going to want to get some land. In California, apparently there are like squatter laws, I guess, where if you occupy a certain property for a certain amount of time and improve it, that apparently you can seize control of that land, but that's not what I did, and I don't really advise you to do that. I think you should aspire for being more than a squatter, really. Also, if you do go about doing that, well, guess what? You're still going to have to pay taxes at some point in time on the property, so you're going to have a job and this and that. Also, I think that's probably a dangerous thing. You don't want to be on someone's property and then one day they show up and greet you with a gun and say, "What the hell are you doing on my land?" Okay, so that's that. Go ahead, pause. Hit the pause. Number 4, what you're going to need to go off grid is going to be shelter. So here I got my pop-up camper. I got this for pretty cheap because it had bees in it, and I won't go into that. I also talked about that in the first video if you want to check it out. This pop-up tent, for those of you who don't know how it works, is it has a little space right here, and you stick a crank in there, and you crank it up. On all 4 corners, it has these poles that come up. This one, it malfunctioned on me after I fixed it a couple times. But anyway, so the roof of this pop-up camper will crank up with these pulley system of poles and wires that go on in there. And then the inside, it folds out. So this whole section folds out, and it has a metal tube, pipe, beam, whatever, that goes around the inside right here, and it's supported on the inside with one across the top. So I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so here's what the inside looks like. These are the beams I was talking about. This is how the whole thing is supported over the bed. You have these relatively flimsy poles. I've had issues with these poles coming down in the high winds and the rain and snowstorms. They're not the most secure thing. I'll tell you a little story. A couple of weeks ago, I went out of town and there was a big rainstorm. I came back late Sunday night to find that this side of the camper was down. which is something that happens once in a while, especially when I'm not around. And my entire bed was soaking wet. I removed all the blankets off. Luckily, I had this my thickest blanket on the other bed, and so I was able to be warm that night because it was very frigid. I hung up the pillows on top of here to kind of drip dry down. I left the sheets on, and when morning time came, everything was totally frozen. So having a pop-up is not the best in the wintertime, but however, it is glorious in the summertime. This summer, the temperature got up to 120 degrees out here. So you're able to unzip pretty much this entire thing. There's a window back here. Same more on this side, I just used for storage. So you can pretty much open this whole thing up, and you get a lot of breeze through here. When it's 120 degrees, it's wonderful. But however, since I've had my bed froze that one time, I've been looking into getting a hard-sided camper. How do you continue? Alright, so, like I was saying, this is great. Summertime, wintertime, it's not so great. I got a little heater in there, and it gets me by, but I'm still looking into getting a hard-sided camper to improve my quality of life for the time being while I'm fixing up the cabin, which is what I'm doing out here. The problem is that these people out here in Southern California think their campers are literally made out of gold. I mean, they want thousands of dollars just for a pop-up like this, which, I mean, the guy had listed for $800 and it was full of bees, and that was part of the deal, having to fight the bees to get them out. $800, that's not too bad, but some of these people want $4,000 for one of these. I swear to God, like the same age. I believe this was made in the 1970s or the 80s actually, and they want like $4 grand for one, and it's like not that much nicer than what I have. Okay, so if you should happen to be living in Southern California and have a hard-sided trailer that is not a fifth wheel, because I want to be able to haul it, and it's reasonable price, go ahead and shoot me a comment below, because I'd be interested in checking it out. You can email me. My email is in the about section of my page, and this would be a good way to reach the masses. I think reasonable, in reality, if it's not too bad, $1,000 to $2,000 is good. If it costs a little bit more, that's fine. If you're talking like $5 grand or more, just go ahead and just totally forget about me, because it's not going to happen. All right, number 3 thing that you need is a generator. This generator is really cool. It's not too loud. The killer part about it is I'm able to run it off propane with a standard regulator. I got me a 10-gallon propane tank recently that cost $125 filled, and I just like dealing with propane better than gas. It's a lot easier, it's less messy. In my local town, we got one grocery store, everything's overpriced. We have 3 gas stations, which would be more than your average tiny town. But the gas at all of them is overpriced, and as of right now, propane, the price remains steady. Locally at about $3 a gallon. The gasoline is well over $3 a gallon, so it's cheaper. It's a lot easier to deal with. You just go fill it up, throw it in the back of the truck. I have used gas on this thing before, but you always end up spilling some no matter what you do. It takes longer to pour out, this and that. And this generator is really killer. I recommend dual fuel, gasoline, propane. It's the way to go. This thing provides me with enough electricity to run my trailer, my heater. I even got a TV in there, movies, VHS, DVD, and power tools and all. So this really does the job for me. Number 2, water. You gotta have water, okay? It took me a while to get these tanks. I got these 2 tanks for free off Craigslist. I love Craigslist. Thank you to the woman who gave them to me if you're still watching my videos. They were quite a bit far away, but I was able to make the time and head way over there, like an hour or two away, and pick these bad boys up. As with everything that you get for free off Craigslist, it's not going to be perfect. There was a couple tiny holes in here, but which I did weld up, and since then I painted it all with primer, give it a little protective layer. I fabricated the caps on here because it was just an open hole. I sealed them with silicone going around, let it dry, welded on a couple little latch and lock mechanism, and they're working just fine. I've run the water line to the house, did that myself. I consulted a professional plumber. Big thank you to Fabian for coming out here, and yeah, so you gotta have water in order to make it out here. Let me follow me this way. So I got this little portable water tank. Thank you, Santa Cruz, for giving me that tank. It's 220 gallons. That's what I used to haul my water. I'm only able to haul 150 gallons to 175 at a time in order to not push my truck to its limits. What I do is I throw it in the back of the truck. I go get a load of water, and I'll pull the truck up here at an angle. This is a little bit elevated above the tanks. My truck will be kind of at an angle like this. I'll connect the water hose to it, open it up, and it'll gravity feed down into the tanks over there. So it just works out perfect, you know. Not every time though. You have to have the water hose in the right spot in order to get that flow going. There's been times where I left it on all night because it's late and I'm getting back, trying to offload the water. I wake up and then barely any has trickled out. So sometimes it takes more than one attempt. If it's late at night, you want to keep an eye on it, make sure it's flowing out. It's got a standard water hose fitting right here. It's nothing special. PVC attached to a rubber fitting. It leaks a little bit at a time. I could take it all apart and you know, but I pretty much tightened it down to where it barely leaks any. It's not really significant at all. So this thing's awesome. A water cube, those caged in tanks, those will probably work just fine as well, but you gotta have water out here. Alright, the number one thing you should have when you would go off grid would be a firearm. Just unload it, safe, ready to go. This would be my hunting gun. In my area, we have mainly upland birds. Chukar, it's out there across the valley. We have quail that come through here, dove. So mainly when I hunt, it's upland game. A firearm is very essential. I put it in number one because with just a firearm alone, you could wander into the wilderness and survive. You know, you could totally live off the grid without buying any of the things I mentioned before. If that's your cup of tea, if you want to be like, what was his name? Christopher McCandless, Into the Wild guy or something like that, you know, you can just go for it. Be my guest. But tell you a little story. So I do live in a small town. We do have a sheriff's station here, but they're way far away. You have your occasional tweaker that'll wander up here looking to rip people off. That's why the right signs would be essential too on your property. We have signs indicating like you should fear for your life trespassing. Okay, I'm not advocating doing anything like that, but at the same time, someone's a lot less likely to rip you off if they're in fear of getting shot and you have signs that indicate that. All right. Another thing is, even if you have an address out here and the cops know exactly where to come, to find you, it's going to take them at least 20 minutes to get up here. And that's if they don't get lost on the way, because I live down a windy, rocky road, okay? There's a story about one of the neighbors. His wife died. Called the ambulance. Ambulance came all the way up, damn near to his house, and couldn't find him. Couldn't get there. Turn around at some point down the road. Okay? Not too long ago, I was sitting out here having a couple beers with my neighbor, and we're looking down into the valley, and we see a fire that looked like it's kind of right off the highway. We sat there watching the fire, could see it off in the distance, and it took the fire department 20 minutes to get to the fire, and the fire was right off the highway. So it's real out here. The danger's real. We have wild animals. I've had a bear come through here one time. Okay, I came out middle of the night, you know, maybe not middle of the night, but kind of late. I was shooting rats with my BB gun to pest control. Armed with nothing but a BB gun, sandals, and a headlight. Literally, I was in my underwear. And I heard something big out in the dark somewhere. I startled it, and it moved, and I could tell it was big. It startled me too. I ran inside and grabbed something adequate, and I went looking around to see what it was. Well, I didn't see what it was, but the next day, down there where the pavement is, they caught a bear up in someone's tree. Okay, so I got the mountains right behind me, and I know that that thing came through my property. It had to be it. And I mean, you see my pop-up, it'll tear through that like it's butter, like nothing. Okay. Another story is, I got my other gun out here. So this would be my Ruger American 30-06 hunting rifle. It's a very accurate budget level weapon. It's 1 MOA capable. I feel like I'd be comfortable taking this to like a long range competition and giving people a run for their money who have $1,000 weapons. You know what I mean? This is, as far as budget level hunting guns go, the Ruger American can't really be beat. The other story is that one day I was coming up my road and I noticed 3 SUVs coming across just above me and down a road where it's kind of rare to see one car, let alone 3 back to back. Well, at the same time, a helicopter came from over near the mountains and circled around, checked out where I was going, and continued on. Well, it turns out that those were 2 SWAT team vehicles, and the third one was a sheriff behind them. I jumped on the binoculars, I seen the little sheriff logo, and one of the neighbors back there was getting raided. I got up on the roof, I'm kind of looking. The helicopter started playing up, we got you surrounded, come out with your hands behind your head, just give up, we got you surrounded. And I'm like, what is going on? Okay, I didn't know what was going on. About a week later, they finally put the story in the local paper, and I guess the neighbor back there, this guy you would always hear popping off his guns, he tried to murder one of the other neighbors. The paper said he went over and asked him for some milk and eggs, and the neighbor told him, I don't have any milk and eggs. And this guy told him, you got 5 minutes to leave or I'm gonna kill you. He went back home, grabbed his guns, went back to this guy's house, started shooting up his house. The guy ran out of the house, jumped in his car, he's still taking fire, and then ran straight down to the sheriff office. You know what I mean? So you cannot really trust anyone out here. You have to provide your own protection. The danger's real. You know, this is the land of where the hills have eyes. So firearm definitely essential. Hunting guns will do it just fine if you have big game in your area. I'd probably choose a rifle over a shotgun, but if you're only gonna have one gun, then probably shotgun's way to go. You can take big game, small game, protect the home, homestead, all the above with that. So put quite a few rounds through this, and it's dead on. So if you enjoyed today's video, please give me a like, hit the subscribe button, maybe show your friends, And if you're tired of paying rent, if you're tired of living with other people, if you feel like you'll never be able to afford your own house, then maybe you should consider going off grid. Be sure to check out my first video. I tell you how I did it. And you know, just don't be afraid. It takes a lot of time and a lot of work and effort, and at times it's hard. Like in that pop-up tent, when it's 28 degrees outside, it's cold, but you know, you bundle up and everything's all good. So thank you for watching today's video. My name's Josh. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you next time. Check out this romantic shower. Set in the mood. Oh yeah. California survival style. Not sure if this is the same one, but we got another tarantula. Seems like they're all coming out on this windy day. I think maybe they come out when it's real windy. Because when I first saw one, I was out hunting and it was super windy.